Today, we're continuing our discussion of gender differences in communication. My goal with this series is not to frustrate you or to make you more miserable by drawing your attention to, much less offering an explanation for, your mate's motivations and behaviors. If this content feels like I'm ignoring the elephant in the room, that you may be angry or hurt or worried, I assure you that I'm not ignoring that fact at all. I take your experience seriously. That's the reason my core curriculum begins with not only making sure you feel understood yourself by me, but also that you have the tools you need to grow stronger within yourself before you try to make sense of your mate. But it's not just about having access to the right information. The men and women in my gender-specific group coaching programs provide mutual support and understanding for one another. If you're interested in going deeper into this topic, you can start with the info available at drdebismith.com/free. Let's get into it. You and your mate may speak the same language, but you each have a different purpose in mind. A man learned to use language to relay information. The fewer words he uses, the better, because that's more efficient. Get to the point, solve the problem, move on. This is likely the reason he believes he is simple, but a more accurate word to describe his use of language is literal. He is far from simple. He is wonderfully complex. He's just very literal in his use and interpretation of words. He listens for the bottom line. He listens for a problem he can solve, especially if the woman he loves is upset about something that's unrelated to him. Now, if it's directly related to him, something else happens. But for time's sake, we'll have to save that discussion for another day. And because of his personal purpose for language, he may miss the detail and the nuance of conversation that comes to her so easily. A woman, on the other hand, is generally taught to use language to create connection. The more she shares, the more words she uses, the deeper the connection. She's not always trying to solve a problem. She just wants to know he knows how she feels. To him, that doesn't even make sense. No wonder they have trouble communicating. Instead, if she's emotional, he listens for a problem to solve before he's heard the whole story. And for her, the story itself is the point. It's the bottom line. As a result, he tries to solve a problem, and it's often the wrong problem. Or he may offer a solution when there is no problem to solve at all. It feels confusing to both of them for one simple reason. He listens in sentences, but she talks in paragraphs. For example, imagine a woman telling her husband about a simple trip to the mall. She shares everything in great detail, wanting him to feel what she was feeling at the time. It might go something like this. She went to pick up some makeup she had ordered from Macy's, the kind that makes her skin feel like silk. On the way, she passed Pottery Barn, which sat on the left side of a very busy courtyard. At that very moment, the courtyard was filled with giggling children playing on the indoor playground while their mothers chatted nearby. One little girl wore the most darling outfit, a great big strawberry applique on the front and tiny ruffles across the bottom. Her blonde curls bounced as she toddled across the courtyard. The scene reminded this woman of her own children when they were toddlers and of how much she misses them now that they're away at college. Then she noticed something in the window of Pottery Barn. She had been thinking about redecorating their bedroom, and there it was, a beautiful duvet covered in a delicate blue, reminiscent of the indigo-printed textiles of 18th century France. The lush garden pattern on an ivory background would perfectly capture the romantic feeling she had been envisioning. And it was on sale. So she went inside. She struck up a conversation with another woman who was admiring the same display. They shared a few decorating ideas, and then they laughed about how their husbands saw no need for such changes. They discovered they had attended the same college. years apart, and before long they were having coffee together. Next week, the couples are all meeting for dinner. She found the entire afternoon amazing and a delightful surprise. Meanwhile, her husband tuned out early in the story. After years of marriage, that's what he learned to do. No point looking for a problem to solve. In his opinion, there was no point to the story. So when she started talking about when they could get together with this new couple, it felt like it came out of the blue. He was clueless. She was frustrated because she was trying to connect but lost his attention with all the details. To her, this kind of storytelling is natural. It's how she bonds. When she was a child, she knew someone as her best friend because secrets were shared. Stories were exchanged. The details mattered. That's how she hopes to experience emotional intimacy with her husband. But he's not a woman, and he's never going to be a woman. Most men do not derive pleasure from extended conversational weaving. It wears him out more quickly than she realizes. Not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't get the point. He knows from experience that he won't be able to find the bottom line, so he tunes out. However, if he's new at this, he searches for that bottom line at the end of every sentence. But then she begins another sentence, and the new sentence doesn't seem directly connected to the previous one. And while he's still holding the first sentence in his mind, she's already 3 paragraphs ahead. And he glazes over. Poor guy. Poor woman. His communication style is precise and literal, especially when she's upset or tearful. He assumes there must be a problem to fix, because problem solving is one of the primary ways he shows he cares. And he sees no difference between sad tears, hurt tears, and happy tears. If she's anxious, distressed, or upset, his instinct is to take action. He learned early in life to manage emotions by moving towards solution and stability. When he tunes out, he's not dismissing her. He is communicating from a male perspective on how a healthy human being operates. She, however, learned to manage emotion by expressing it, by sharing it, by deepening connection through it. When she shares, she's not overreacting. She's communicating from a female perspective on how a healthy human being operates. So, does she need to stop telling stories? No, but she can help them both succeed. Before she begins, she can offer the bottom line. Is there a problem she wants help solving? Or does she simply want to share something with her best friend? If she tells him, I just want to tell you about my day. You don't have to fix anything. I just want you to listen for a few minutes. He's far more likely to relax and engage. 5 focused minutes feels manageable to him. No more. And when he knows the purpose of the conversation, he can lean in rather than brace himself. This dynamic, the literal versus the relational use of language, is explored more deeply in the 6-week core curriculum, because understanding the purpose behind communication changes your perspective and your experience. When both of you understand what the other is trying to accomplish, the frustration softens. Neither one of you is broken, you're just different. And once those differences become clear, the atmosphere is clear again, and neither of you need to defend your positions. Now, this is only one layer of how a man and a woman communicate differently, because it isn't just the purpose of language that differs between them. It's also the quantity of words each of them uses, and the way those words are chosen, shaped, and experienced. Remember, we explore these differences more fully inside the 6-week core curriculum, where each layer builds on the one before it. But for now, as you reflect on this, I encourage you to become curious. Is he listening for the bottom line? Is she speaking to create connection? And if you'd like to explore this more deeply, I invite you to visit my website to learn more about his perspective and her perspective. I'll put the link below. Next time, we'll look at what happens when the number of words and the weight of those words so often differ. Until then, take care, and I'll see you again real soon.